Well, we're on.
We are. We're live
Yeah,
right
we're
now.
live right now there, Don.
Well, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Fantastic. And it's a pleasure to be with you again, Dan. I want to congratulate you for running such a fantastic race for the state Senate seat. And we want to thank all the people who worked in the campaign, a lot of volunteers, a lot of great meetings with different groups and organizations. And we just failed that little bit of getting our message out.
Well, I first of all, to echo what you're saying, I want to thank everybody that was involved and everybody that helped. And it's hard for me to tell you how humbled I am by all of this. It's a wonderful experience, and you know, I've been thinking a lot about this, and what do we do with what we've done? What do we do about it? And I've come to one realization, and I'm going to say it. I'm just going to say it. Uh, we're just we need to get past where we are today with both parties. I tell you that I'm absolutely. I'm not. I don't want to use the word appalled, but we're so divisive. Both parties need help, and I really believe that what we need to do and what we need to be today is we need to be a group of people who don't measure you by who and what your title is or what your party
Yeah,
affiliation
don't
is.
put a label on you.
That's right. And I really think that, Don, you and I going forward should be uh, the middle of the road group, the group that fights for what's important, like it's
And common sense.
and common sense. I really do. I mean, there are some things that the Republican Party are doing. I don't understand it. President Trump, I just don't understand why he's doing it. I can't figure it out. And nobody should be afraid of saying that. I think that Kathy Hochul is completely, she's off base about what she's doing. So our leaders, it's almost like they're trying to agitate one side or another side. It's part of their whole MO.
And that's why I think the voter apathy is so strong. We didn't have a lot of people come out to the polls. We
Right.
knew going in, we were told that people do not go out to the polls for a special election.
Right.
And on that one hand, we thought that might be to our advantage, but it didn't work out that way. Um, I wish Jeremy Zellner the best of luck. I hope he represents all of the 61st Senate District well. And I am concerned, though, some of the issues that I'm hearing from the Democratic Party. For example, I'm not trying to take a cheap shot, but when Sean Ryan gets elected, never did he tell anybody during the campaign that he was not going to have one, not going to have two, not going to have three, but four deputy mayors, all making $100,000 apiece. This recalls back in the blizzard of '77, Stan Mikowski was the mayor. That snowstorm cost him his political career. But at the time, and same as now, the city of Buffalo was facing a huge budget deficit, and he had an opening. It was a Friday afternoon. I was in City Hall. He had an opening for a deputy mayor, and he was going to make the announcement on Monday. And he said, if I tell you who it's going to be, will you promise to hold it until Monday? I said, yes, Your Honor. I promise you I won't break it until Monday. He says, I want to give it to Les Fascio. He's a very brilliant man. Notre Dame, went on to become a U.S. magistrate. He actually was running City Hall for the most part. And Stan Mikowski told me, you know what, Don, we have so many money problems in the city of Buffalo that I'm not going to fill that position. I'm not going to spend the money for a deputy mayor. I have Les Fascio as a special assistant to the mayor. He's a wonderful guy. He's doing a fantastic job. I'm not going to give him the title with the big pay. Common sense. Even though it cost him his political career, the blizzard of '77, only because we had no manpower. We didn't have the equipment to handle it. The city was paralyzed for 2 weeks. But Stan Mikowski was a good man, and you could reason with him. And he would reach across the aisle. He worked with the Democrats and Republicans, much like Mayor Sedita did. I remember when Mayor Sedita asked his closest associates, what do you think? Should I go for a tax increase? And all his associates said, absolutely, we need the money. And he said, but there's one difference between you and me. It's my name on the ballot, not yours. And I'm not going to go for a tax increase. We're going to make do with what we have. Well, you don't hear that anymore. You hear tax and spend, tax and spend, tax and spend. I had a chuckle. Yesterday, I heard Donald Trump say, we are making so much money on the tariffs, we might be able to do away with the federal income tax. Really? With the trillions and trillions of dollars in debt that we have? Let's get back to
Well,
balancing the budget.
well, I mean, but Don, see, that's the whole point. He's saying things like that because he just wants to stir up the base. He knows he's in trouble for the midterms.
Right.
I got Kathy Hochul saying, "Oh, we're going to bring down car insurance." It was something that I said during that time. Look, our problem is that I don't believe any of our politicians anymore. I don't believe any of them. I don't believe that they're. I don't believe. I believe that they want to do, but they can't because they've got so many mounting problems that they just say what you want to hear and they scratch the surface each and every time. When a person like I run or you run or people like that, we run because we think that we can do something, we can make a difference. Well, here's what I decided. We have to have a cultural change in how we approach these things. And what I mean by that is we need to understand that real change comes from understanding what the problems are. That's the first and foremost.
Identify the problem.
That's right. But tell me, which one of our current leaders actually do that?
I haven't heard any of them talk about it.
Mayor Ryan wasn't even in 61. People don't even remember seeing him. Okay. Jeremy Zellner's a party boss, and I wish Jeremy the best of luck too. But he's a political boss, and he's out there MAGA this, MAGA this, MAGA that. So all he's doing is just creating more divisiveness in this area to make things more difficult. Well, like, I don't understand. How do we get better unless we start saying, hey, what ideas do you have? I mean, since when is everybody the smartest person in the room?
Isn't it interesting that there was a state trooper who I have an utmost respect for, wonderful man, Niagara County boy, and he posted on Facebook yesterday about how high the cost of living in New York State is. Highest tax state in the nation, highest utility costs, highest car insurance. You go on, you can make a whole list of things, highest utility bills. And then he says, is it any wonder why people are voting with their feet? And all the thousands of people who have left New York State and gone to these states, the red states where there's no state income tax. Wow. I saw an article the other day, 6 states, all red states, Florida being one, Georgia being another, Texas being another, who are thinking about doing away with property taxes. Wouldn't that be a tremendous relief for taxpayers in Western New York if we didn't have to pay these astronomical property taxes?
But again, here's the problem. We don't have the ingenuity or the guts for people to say, President Trump, you're out of your mind. What are you talking about? Or Kathy Hochul, Governor Hochul, what are you doing? Do you really understand that? And here's the problem. When you only get 12% out to vote, people aren't voting because they don't feel like their vote matters. And I got to tell you something. After going through these 2 elections, I agree with them.
I think I do too.
I agree with them. I agree with that. I agree that our vote doesn't matter.
You can't make a difference.
That's right. You can't, because no matter how hard you try, you're still fighting a machine where they go out and they say, oh, no, we're going to blame the whole world on it. And people are not engaged enough. This is why when we are talking about educating people about stuff, I think what we need to do, we just need to come out and be honest. We need to just say the things that are going on. Like, okay, why did President Trump do that thing with the memes? Why did he do that? Like,
well, they say a staff person did it.
Yeah.
But whatever, it should have been put down. It should never been posted in the first place.
But he should have said, you want to know something? That staff person is fired.
Yeah, and this is who it was.
That's right.
And he should have known
exactly
better.
Right. That's exactly right.
And I apologize.
That's right.
Somebody on
That's
my
right.
staff like that.
You know what I'm saying? That's what he should have done.
Same when he came out and he said he wanted to make Canada the 51st state.
He pissed off more people about that. My brother owns a restaurant in Niagara Falls. Relied on the Canadian business. He's got none. They're not coming over. And you want to know why? Because they're putting their middle finger up to the president saying, you want to know something? Screw you.
Look at the outlet mall.
That's right. Done.
Used
Done.
to have all Canadian license plates. They are so ticked off at us. I was at a Super Bowl party Sunday, and there was a guy there who grew up in Canada. And between you and me, his wife is very conservative. And he says, can you imagine I have to live with that? You know, but he says when he wanted to make Canada the 51st state, I was offended.
That's
I don't
right.
blame him. I would have
Of
been
course
pissed.
he was.
And if I was in Greenland, I would be offended. That
But here's the point.
wants to
Let's
annex
ass-
us.
let's assume that was what's going to happen eventually. That's how you handle it. This is how you treat people. This is the problem. And you want to know something? The Democrats are playing right into his hand because they're treating every Republican like we've got the plague, right? I'm telling you, Don, mark my words. There's a groundswell of people leaving the party because they can't take it anymore. And you want to know something? I agree with it. I agree. We didn't have enough Republicans coming out and voting. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? You can't sell the sizzle without the steak. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to say, okay, we're going to go out there. If we're lucky, we're going to win this election. I mean this. I don't have any hard feelings. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I went. I learned something. I learned more things valuable this last year that what I thought is not true. It's not based upon you being a party affiliate or this, that. It's not. This is about, in order to invoke real change in what we do and how we do it, you got to start this way. You got to be willing to say, like I did in that last election, I don't care whether you're a Democrat or Republican. What I care about is the fact that we need to change. We need to do something different. We need to get people engaged, and we need to keep fighting, and we need to keep fighting against the system that's been created over all these years. All these things have been occurring. It doesn't go away.
Well, you know what's going to happen? Zellner's going to get down to Albany. He's going to vote the party line. He's going to do whatever Kathy Hochul tells him.
That's right.
No one stands up and says, hey, wait a minute.
That's right.
What is best for everyone?
But you want to know why, though? They don't do it because nobody's telling them what's going on. Nobody's telling them what he's doing out there.
You know what? You want to know what's going on? I got a phone call the other day. We had the snowstorm. Town of Amherst, Highway Department, had to bring in the crews on a split shift. You know why? So much of their plows are down. They need repairs. They're old. They're breaking down. I turned to my wife. I said, what is wrong that our street doesn't get plowed
That's right.
during the storm?
That's right. And look at, and I'm going to tell you something. Let's put it out there. Okay. I wish Sean Lavin, I wish Jeremy, I wish them all the best of luck.
Why not?
And they probably have a lot going on that is not their fault too. You got to give it. This is years and years of.
You inherit the problem.
That's right. These are years and years of issues that are going on. Okay. When does it stop? When do we get to a place where somebody sits there and says, you can't spend that much money? You're not allowed to spend that much because we don't have it. And why is it all right that you increase taxes or you do all this stuff? When do people just say, I've had enough? And just like you said, they're leaving. They're walking out of this state because they're just like, I'm out.
Yeah, don't need it anymore.
I don't need this anymore.
But I'll tell you one thing I do appreciate is my dentists, my doctors in Western New York. I think we have good health care, even though it's expensive. Geez, I just saw where ECMC is laying off 120 people, but they're making money, but they have to do layoffs. I don't understand the healthcare business, the reimbursement rate, Medicare, Medicaid. I don't understand it. I just know it's not the doctor's fault. It's not the nurse's fault, but it's expensive.
Well, I'll give you a little education. I sit on the board for Independent Health. I've been on there for 7 years.
Why did they take Roswell Park out of the network?
Well, let's talk about that. Roswell Park is upset because Independent Health gave them a contract. They didn't like that contract, and they gave them what they wanted, and they didn't like that. Now, here's the difference. What people don't understand. There are services that hospitals provide. MRI, we'll say. Just let's use it as an example. When one hospital charges $5,800 for an MRI, another one charges $2,800, that's not right. Same machine. Same machine.
That's what's going on.
Yeah, that's right. And here's another thing. 1,000 customers, 1,000 people who are using Roswell will create a $36 a month charge to 60,000 people to take care of those 1,000. Now,
people don't know this.
No, they don't know this. But here's another thing. What people don't understand is that we've got the doctors who have a position, we have the recipients, you and I, we have the hospitals, and we have the state. Everybody has Everybody has their hands in this. The state regulates everything that we are allowed to charge. We go in there and say we have to have a 20% increase. I'm independent health. I get a 20% increase. I need 20%. State comes out and goes 12. Okay. Now we have to deal with that. Number two, the state doesn't understand that the reason why they're asking for a 20% increase is because the charges that are coming from the hospitals are going up. And if they're not regulated as to what they're doing, it's a cascading effect. The only way this is going to change is if everybody has skin in the game across the board. And it's based on performance, it's based on all these things. But the state needs to be the referee. The state needs to make sure that all the hospitals are charging the same amount and things like that. So we're keeping it an even keel so we can understand what the costs are. Okay. The problem is that if we want to give healthcare to everybody, if we really want to do that, that's a cost for us. Well, let's look at waste, fraud, and abuse in the Medicare, Medicaid. Let's look at that and see how much we find out. Look at the waste, fraud, and abuse we're finding in Minnesota or California or these places. If there is a program like Medicaid and Medicare, there should be audit procedures in place all the time.
Absolutely.
So we know that the money that's being spent is right. What if we were able to save $1 billion a year in it because of like fraud? Everybody's afraid to say it. Everybody's afraid to do it. Everybody gets used to doing what they want. There needs to be a culture shift. People need to understand that you are held accountable for what you do and what you don't do.
Right.
I'm responsible for my business. If I spend too much money, I'm going to go out of business. If I charge too much money, people are not going to come into my business. If I treat you differently than another person, I'm going to lose business. This is why it's not only is it good that a person who is in business or somebody who understands this recognizes the fact that where we need to start is we're all the same. The second thing we have to start with is, okay, what are the most bare essential things that we need to have what are the bare essentials? We need to have food, housing, health. We need these are things, clothing, right? That's how we have to build from that point on.
But you see, you're aware of how the system works when it comes to healthcare. Me, from the outside looking in, I treasure Roswell Park as a crown jewel. We're lucky to have a cancer institution here in Western New York. And for Independent Health and for Highmark, for that matter, to take Roswell Park and take them out of network, to me, is a cardinal sin.
Okay.
As a person from the outside looking in.
But should Roswell be allowed to charge whatever they want?
No.
Okay, there's the point. Who's monitoring Roswell? Who's going up to Roswell and saying, hey, and listen, I'm on the board and I sit back. I try to get the two CEOs to talk. The point I'm trying to make is that's the problem. That's the point. Who is the person that's saying, hey, why are you charging this much? Why are you doing that? There should be automatic arbitration for stuff like that, where you've got to go in, you got to sit down, you got to say, okay, why are you charging this much? Why are you doing this? That's the point. It's hard, Don. I recognize the fact that it doesn't matter whether you are a great candidate or not. What matters is what is society dictating right now? President Trump is not helping anybody in his party right now. He's hurting them. So Republicans are getting trounced all over the place. The place in Texas, they lost by a place where he won by 17 votes, 17%. He lost by 14%.
What's that tell you?
So he's not even thinking about that. Okay, so now it's not a Dan Gagliardo's fault. It's not a Jeremy Zellner. That has nothing to do with us. It really is, what are the people feeling at that moment in time, which will dictate whether you are successful or not. Now, I wasn't successful in both those runs, but what I did realize is that I moved 15% the first time, and I moved 68% of the independents to vote for me. Well, guess what? Everybody should worry about that. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if they move over, the Democratic Party is losing people left and right. Jeremy Zellner has been unsuccessful in keeping his party, the numbers up. He's losing them. And guess what? Eventually, you're going to have more blanks, than both parties.
Well, they're going so far to the left. You
That's
look
right.
at New York City when they had the snowstorm and the garbage that piled up.
That's
No
right.
one picked up the garbage. Yeah, we're going to have free housing.
But again, there's a guy. Here's a guy who gets elected, charismatic, does what he has to, smiling all the time. He doesn't have a clue of what's going to happen. 14 people died. 14 people. It's sad. Now, what he should be doing is he should be putting some career people who know what they're doing in each one of those departments so he looks good. And he could listen to those people teach him because he's a young man who doesn't know everything.
He means well.
That's right. Absolutely. I believe everybody means well.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I believe everybody means well. But let's be realistic here. What are you doing? He's not going to get free bus service. This child care is going to be a horrendous thing. Everything he wanted to do, he doesn't realize that the state has to do it. This is why he endorsed Hochul, because he needs her and he knows he needs her. But guess what? She keeps raising taxes. She's screwed too. I believe that what has to happen is more of this, more conversations where people are like, no, I don't want to do that. No, I'm not going to do that. How are we going to get more people? I wish there was a way that people could vote online. I
Really?
do. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I mean, so they wouldn't have to go to the polls.
Uh-huh.
Make it even easier.
That's right. Where there's a way of verifying who you are. I don't care what it is, but I would like to do something like that. Why? Could you imagine 90% of the people voting? Imagine 80%. It'd be unbelievable. Then you want to talk about what people really know and don't know? I don't know how we do it. I'm not sure what the mechanism is, but we're a pretty smart group of people in this country. We could figure this stuff out. They don't want people to vote. They like it just the way it is.
Well, they're also that there's an act where the Republicans want us to show ID when we go to the polls. I think that's great. I love
too.
Showing the license and say, yeah, I'm here. And I like going to the polls on election day. I don't believe in early voting.
Right.
I know the Democrats love it, but I don't believe in it. You vote on election day. If you're not going to be around, get an absentee ballot.
Right.
That's the way it should be. But I want identification.
I agree with that too. I think that's an easy one. Okay, maybe there's a way of doing that.
You go to a drugstore and you buy Advil, cold and sinus medication. You have to show your driver's license to purchase that.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yet you can go to the polls and not show who you are.
Right.
Something's wrong.
Well, and again, this is a system where we should be reviewing what we do each and every day. We should be reviewing who and what we do and how we do it each and every day. But there is nobody that's held accountable. And I'm going to use Mark Poloncarz, for instance. Mark Poloncarz, I'm not exactly sure where his head is at. He's pushing this Willowdale Westwood thing. 2 days after the election for supervisor, Hardwick came out and said we couldn't afford it. Why are you still pushing it? You can't afford it. You're building another park. There's lead paint all over Buffalo. There's sewer systems that are in dire need.
Yeah, look at the water main.
That's right. Look at what you're doing. How selfish are you? For what purpose?
But you got it for $1.
Yeah, but that's right. But that's my point. The logic to this makes no sense at all. But 30% of the people voted. That's why. So they could say, 30% did. Jeremy Zellner came out and said before he won that the state needs to help with Willowdale Park. The state needs to help, giving them money. And the Boulevard Mall, giving them money. It's like, wait a minute. So your solution to this problem is have government pay for it. Okay. Who pays the government?
We do.
That's right. Who's the one who does this? Guess what? I'm back looking at this now saying, this is comical because everything that they voted for, everything that everybody voted for, you're going to get it in spades. You're going to pay more money in property taxes. You're going to get less services because there's not enough people working. The trucks are not working. You're going to have to take out another $50 million to pay for new trucks.
Absolutely.
This is what people don't realize. This is what people don't understand. And this is why podcasts are doing so well. This is why the Rogans of the world are doing well. This is why everybody's doing so well out there now, because they're out there saying, why did you do that? Why did you do that? I was watching Jon Stewart the other night, and he was talking about the Epstein files, right? And he goes, this is disgusting what happened on that island. They should pay these poor women, these young girls that were treated like that. What's going to happen? What are they going to do about this? This was a travesty of justice.
Yeah, but look at the names.
I know, that's right.
On that list.
That's right.
I mean, Lutnick.
Yeah.
This Epstein.
He lied. Lutnick lied.
You
Only one time. He lied. He lied. What about Bill Gates? What about all of these people? The Clintons, all of them. The president, everybody somehow or some way was touched with this guy. All right. If the chips fall where they may, if you play, you pay. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. I get it. But the point to John's message was, we can't, this was a travesty. People were hurt. Young children were hurt. This man, whatever he did, he should be, we should find out what happened.
I'd like to know.
That's right. That's what I'm talking
And
about,
why
Don.
can't they get to the bottom of it?
I don't know, Don. The weird part about this is that it's almost like we're skimming the surface. Everybody just talks about what's on their mind at that moment. And then all of a sudden we have to deal with that situation. And I keep going back to being a business person. It was like you. You were a broadcaster for how many years?
52.
Okay. Well, you did your job. You did it in a way with honor, respect, integrity. You never had a position either way during this time
Nope.
because you knew that you couldn't.
I wanted to be unbiased.
That's right. Okay. That's integrity. That shows you where we come from. That's the kind of people we are. My parents were like that. My grandparents were like that. I hopefully was been like that in my life. Today, it's not like that. People will say things to hurt you for that moment and not care what it's done to you or whatever. When do we lose respect for one another?
It's like they try to label you as MAGA.
Yeah.
And you weren't.
Not even close.
Your message was so good, and you ran a wonderful campaign. Your mailers, your advertising. Geez, the one with you in the restaurant saying you have a recipe that fixed New York State. Great writing, and I admire that. My wife told me it was the best political ad she ever saw because she didn't feel like it was a political ad. But you were on message.
Well, I want to tell you something, Don. I've been thinking a lot about this. I've been thinking a lot about where I go from here and what we do from this point on. I'm going to continue the message. I'm going to continue saying those things. I'm going to continue saying that anybody that is out there defying each other by being disrespectful to one another and not listening to people, they shouldn't be in office. They shouldn't.
I think it's a cesspool down there.
I do too. I think there's a cesspool across the board. You know, I believe that people go and get into politics today. They do their very best, but realize that they can't do much because it's so far out of control. And people are just getting by each and every day, and it's getting worse and worse because they don't understand how to fix the problem. I'm a problem solver. Everything you did, you reported with integrity. What is wrong with people doing that? We should insist on that. Forget politics.
And we also rooted for the little guy.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
we were getting ripped off or something.
That's right.
Yeah.
But
We
those
feel
stories.
bad- we
That's
feel
right.
bad for 'em because we were the voice of the voiceless.
That's right. That's more stuff that we have to do. That's the stuff that we have to be promoting. We have to be promoting the stuff that makes a difference, that make a difference in what make you feel here. Look at what happened during 9/11, how everybody came together. Look what happened during Pearl Harbor, how everybody came together.
9/11 was the last time we were united.
But that's my point. This is what we should be feeling every single day. But it happens, and then all of a sudden we go back to our life because people are just trying to get by. They're just trying to figure it out. And then when you have fresh voices like Mandami coming in there, right? Saying something different, striking a chord that matters most. Like, how do we live? How can I get by? Kids can't buy houses. I'm all this stuff. These are things that are real things. Problem is that when they get in office, they recognize you're not gonna get 2% more on people that make $1 million over. You want to know why? Because the governor can't do that.
I think,
And now he wants to raise 1% on us.
I think the public sector does not realize how tough it is in the private sector and how hard it is to make a living, especially in this state. And when you see what the taxes are for property taxes, sales tax, school taxes, income tax, and you're like, for every dollar I make, I get 40 cents and the government gets 60 cents. Right. This is nonsense.
Well, but again, Don, how realistic is this? How realistic is it that we continue working harder and harder? We see less and less of our paycheck. Okay. The solution to this problem is that we either have to come down in what we own, get smaller homes, live in a much more modest life. Okay, I get it. How much more modest can we be? How much can we suffer before we just say, what are we doing here?
Well, if you're a senior citizen and you want to go out and buy a patio home,
that's right,
under 2,000 square feet, and you're going to pay $700,000.
How can you do it?
How did this happen?
How can you do it? You can't. You can't do it. You can't. And I think that that's really a problem. I really do think it's a problem. But I'll tell you, I've been thinking a lot about this. I've been thinking about what to do with everything that we have done over the last year. And I actually think that we just got to keep honing, hammering it. What are they doing? What's he doing? What is Jeremy doing? What's Sean Lavin doing? What's Mayor Ryan doing? What's Chris Green doing? What is Mark Poloncarz doing? What is President Trump doing? What is Schumer doing? I think that we should be questioning them all the time. Explain yourself. Explain yourself. Explain yourself. Explain yourself. Do it.
Well, how about when you see a Schumer soundbite from 10 years ago?
Oh, I know.
When how illegal immigrants
That's right.
stopped and
that's right.
be given benefits that immigrants who came in legally get, and now he's like, no, they can vote, they can do this.
I used to.
You look at the state budget. How much money Kathy Hochul put for the homeless?
That's right.
$4.6 billion.
That's right. That's like, I used to sit there and think, I used to think that President Trump was being scrutinized so hard, right? He does it to himself.
Oh, yes.
He does his own worst enemy. And you want to know something? He should be scrutinized for the stupid things that he says. Seriously. He likes to agitate people. Why do you want to agitate people?
I don't understand why this his thought process.
I don't understand why he's agitating people. Why do you got to agitate them?
On network correspondence and telling women they're ugly.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
That's the point. The point is that he's not thinking about anybody but himself right now. Okay? Let's assume he's doing some really good things.
I think he is.
Yeah, me too. The problem is he never gives himself a chance to make sure that they're good. He's in another fight. This is like bizarre. Bizarre.
Dan.
I wish I had 10 minutes with the guy.
So do I.
10 minutes.
Just say, Mr. President.
Really?
Be more presidential.
That's right.
Jack Kemp. Did you ever meet him?
No.
Wonderful, wonderful congressman. Pretty good quarterback, by the way. Great guy. His wife, Joanne, amazing lady. Fantastic mom. Beautiful family. Jack Kemp was so much fun to be around, and I'll tell you why. He would say, when it comes to certain areas, I'm a fiscal conservative,
right.
Okay? I don't want to waste money. But when it comes to social programs, I'm a liberal.
Right.
I believe in the safety net. We have to help those who can't help themselves.
And what is wrong with saying that?
Yeah.
Why is it a bad word to say, I believe that we should have health care, that we should take care of those 40 million people that don't have it? Let's make sure that we don't have waste, fraud, and abuse so we can do it.
So we can provide.
So I agree with Jack. I believe that Jack Kemp, that message, he was far ahead of his time.
Absolutely.
Far ahead of his time. And that's the problem. We've lost that. We have lost that. We have lost the ability for somebody to say, hey, I don't want us to spend more than we make. If that's a conservative value, so what? Right?
It's an American
value. It's an American value, right? On the flip side, I also don't want to give away that. I also want to help people that need it. What about these people? What about people who can't make it? I was just reading an article in the paper about Buffalo. and how the homeless problem is getting out of control. Nobody's talking about it. Guess what, Mayor Ryan? You better get on it. You better do something about it. Those poor people don't deserve to die out there. What are you doing about it? What are you going to say about it? Where are you going to get the money? How are you going to do it? Own up to it. Figure it out. Tell us.
Buffalo has one of the best city missions in the United States. But if you talk to the homeless people, some of them don't like to go there because you're required, if you're going to take shelter for the night, to attend the religious service. And they don't like that. Some don't. But there's other places you can go in the city of Buffalo. There is no reason at all that one person should be underneath a bridge abutment during a major snowstorm.
That's right.
When there's places they can go
That's
for
right.
shelter.
That's right.
And we have what they call the code blue. So there are people, police officers who go out and they try, and social workers, try to round up the homeless and say, hey, we got a place for you to stay warm, go to a soup kitchen, whatever. It is a social crime to me that anyone in this day and age has to be homeless.
And maybe that's the campaign we have, Don. Maybe the campaign that we do now is we have a political campaign to fight for things that matter most, that we need to be helping people with, the homeless, and we need to figure out how do we become more responsible for the actions of what's happening out there. You know what I mean? And hold people's feet to the fire.
Well, there's some mental health issues that
That's
have
right.
to be addressed as well.
That's right.
But
And maybe like you talked about Roswell and Independent Health. Guess what? Maybe there should be a forum with the two CEOs so they can air it out in front of everybody so everybody can hear
I'd
it.
love to see it,
Right?
because I learned more today from you than I
That's right.
realized in how
But
it
that's my
works.
point. Maybe they should be held responsible for that stuff.
But we're so lucky to have Roswell. My wife
100%.
went through breast cancer, so a lot of women out there. I shudder to think what our community would be like without Roswell.
I'm excited because I think that our voice is going to be happening. Every single Tuesday we're going to do this. We're going to have a conversation every Tuesday about what's going on out there. But I think that we have to find things that have been good, have been bad, or whatever, and we need to hold people's feet to the fire.
Well, let me tell you this. There was a time when I had Independent Health as my my health insurance, and man, I liked it. It was a good program, good product. And then I got old and I retired and had to go on Medicare, and I went with Blue Cross Blue Shield, Highmark. And then Highmark takes Roswell out of the in-network, and now I'm on Univera. And I can't believe it, because now I was told, who knows about next year, if Univera is going to be the next
That's
one
right.
to say Roswell's out.
That's
of the
right.
world. So we're going to have this cancer center when no one gets any coverage.
But that's the issue. If everybody's leaving Roswell, you have to think that there's something going on with Roswell.
And Roswell's got to change.
That's right. That's the point, Don. That's what I'm trying to say. Independent Health, I believe, is trying to deal in good faith. I really do.
But look at their bleeding money.
That's right. But again, everybody in the industry is bleeding money because the regulations that they're confronted with are astronomical. It's not an easy thing. This is not a simple fix. But what I will tell you is, look at what happens to people, why people are doing what they're doing. Why did Highmark drop them? Why did Independent Health drop them? People need to understand that this is a pattern. Now what has to happen, that's why I say, get them all in a room. Let them sit down. Let them figure out what has to happen. Let them sit there and have to answer for themselves. That's the kind of stuff where you bring results, where everybody understands what's at stake here. I know for a fact that Independent Health wants to cover everybody and take care of them. I know they do. I also understand that it's a nonprofit. Don't forget that. It's a nonprofit. So they've got to figure out how to keep the doors open and be a nonprofit.
Not making any money.
That's right. That's right. Just breaking even.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So people have to understand that part of it too.
And also realize you don't want socialized medicine. If
Absolutely.
you go, my daughter lives in England. My gosh, how long you have to wait.
That's right.
for- to have-
Look at Canada. They're having the same issue.
That's why they come down here.
That's right. So that's why I think that what we have is we have some pretty smart individuals, people who know what they're doing. I listen to Mike Crop talk, smart man. Listen to Judith talk, smart. You listen to the people at Blue Cross, smart, very smart people. All we have to do is get them talking, where they have to, where the situation is, you have to make this work. How are we going to do it?
Well, Highmark held a forum, excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold here, with Obamacare
Mhm.
and explaining how it would work. And man, I had no idea how complex
Oh,
the healthcare system is.
it's incredibly.
They had an individual there, this gentleman, was he ever bright? And he could explain it in layman terms about what it means to go to the open market to get health insurance.
Right.
Now, Obamacare, as turns out, it's the healthcare insurance we can't afford.
Well, all of my people are on the exchange at my restaurant. It helped them. These are people that made a certain amount of money. It helped them. I agree with it. Make sure there's no waste, fraud, and abuse. How easy? Figure that out first. Take the program, find out where the waste, fraud, and abuse is. Without saying you're going to take it away from people, how about if we just do an audit of what's going on out there to see what you're doing right and wrong?
It'd be amazing what you find.
Oh my gosh. It's an incredible. People are just afraid to say it because right away you're going to take something away from me. You're trying to do this. You're guilty. You're this. You're that. This is politics as usual, and I think that politics needs to change and how we perceive it, and that's when you'll start to see real changes. Anyways, thanks for coming today, Don.
My pleasure.
We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Dan.
All right, bud.